Hi Vivek, welcome to episode 5 of ARVR at Tech with TV. Um, so far, the complete discussion revolved around what's happening in AR, the learning and the development, right? It was amazing discussion with you, the amazing talk. But what do you think? Where are we heading towards AR and VR? What is the future of AR and VR? How do you encompass this in a very small consolidation? I know it's a big term future, but how?
So to understand a future scope of any field is always evolving, right? Any topic that you think of is always evolving. So what you do when you can't see the horizon, what you do when you can't see the scope of where the technology is going, is you just take a look in the current trends. So what are the current trends and what will lead somewhere to the future of what AR and VR is? The first example that comes to my mind is Elon Musk's OpenAI, wherein the interaction part, the resources part, or rather the senses part of AR and VR is where you try to fool your senses. Through VR, you have visual senses, you have auditory senses, you have different senses which are taken by VR and then try to fool your brain to think as if it is in a different world. But what if in future we totally replace the need of using your senses and directly fool the brain itself? So that is what Elon Musk is trying to do, wherein try to establish a communication, a connection directly between your brain and the computer. And I guess that will be the ultimate form of AR and VR, wherein they converge and form an interaction with the computer wherein you don't even know that you are interacting with computer. This might sound scary, but so is any other tech. Automobile were scary, seat belts were scary, electricity was scary, AR VR is scary, but for us to efficiently interact with computers, we need to have a better interface.
So, you are going to ask you one thing, like from a user perspective, from a layman individual person. I think can we say the future of VR in education would be kids would not be having textbooks anymore, going to school. They'll straight away have the headset, or a random housewife not watching TV or regular serials or daily soaps. They might be utilizing that concept of VR glasses. Or imagine a chef at some kitchen not cooking and wearing those glasses, and robots are cooking on their behalf. Is this the reality? Is this going to be the future?
I would disagree with that. See, this is a very vivid picture that we see right now. All of these techs, all of these applications that I spoke of are happening in some or the other form right now. So, like I mentioned, the doctor example in the earlier episode, wherein a surgeon is operating in a different location and the operation has been done in a different location. People enjoying educational content while learning is happening right now. Housewife, as far as the housewife goes, a good company in India, Reliance, is planning to have OTT platform boxes along with the set-top boxes along with a VR headset, so you can enjoy content in VR. So that is happening right now. It's not the future. Like I said, future is not something which is impossible, unimaginable, and it's somewhere out there. It's just a continuation of what is happening right now, and all of these techs, all of this evolution is happening right now.
Wow, that's so interesting to know that what I asked, it's not a future and it's the current happening things around us. Wow. So, how do you relate to the next gen VR or next gen AR? What is this term getting buzz around? How
Right.
do you relate this?
So the first gen VR, to be specific, uses screens. They use displays of some sorts. Some might be good displays, as in some might be AMOLED displays, some transparent displays for augmented reality. Uh, those are the current, limited platforms that we use to showcase what AR and VR is. There are future technologies like light field displays. There are light wave guide displays. There are different displays that enable you to do AR, to do VR without even having a display in front of you. Sony has patented supposedly a contact lenses that again eliminates the need of having a display in front of you. Rather, just have a contact lens and then you interact with whatever is in front of you. That is AR without even a display in front of you. So those are some near future applications, near future changes in the field. Apart from that, like I said, OpenAI or BCI, brain computer interface in general, will totally replace, hopefully, how you interact with computers. And the game, the game has always been and how efficiently you can interact with computers. If you notice a trend wherein we had newspapers earlier, we consumed media through television, through radio, and we interacted to the with the computers, with keyboards, now with touch screens, with zoom gestures, with pin gestures and everything. The game has always been how quickly you can interact with the computer, and what do I mean by that is how quickly you can convey your message to the computer, how quickly can it convey it back to you. If the game has always been about interaction, AR and VR is the obvious next step in interaction, wherein you don't want to interact in a certain way with the computer. You want to interact with the computer very naturally, very intuitively. So let's say you're playing a game wherein you throw a stick and the dog fetches it for you. In a game world, you would do that with keyboard and mouse gestures, or some remote controllers, or some controllers for doing the same, right? In VR, you just pick up the stick and you throw it away. It's that intuitive.
Oh, that's so amazing to hear it out and to see the real life applications happening like this. But I don't know how we might deviate a little bit, from the topic. But Vivek, as you see, any time or every time, it's been the history, which speaks. Anything new comes in the industry, the adoption differs for the current age, for the elders, and for the youngers. I mean, the young bees. And we have seen drastically changes happening, where all the generation takes time, take their own time to adapt this thing. But that's not with AR VR.
Right.
Because young bees are using it, elders are using it, oldies are using it, right? Why is it so? Or maybe going further, I know this might relate to HCI concept also, but what is your take? Why it was not difficult for anyone, to adapt quickly AR VR, or in case in future it will make it difficult? How do you see this?
That's a very legitimate and a great observation from your side. See, any other form of interaction, I stress on the word interaction, is where there's a certain learning curve to it, right? So if you need to type, you need to learn how a keyboard functions. You need to understand what this big bar at the bottom means. It means space bar, we know, but for a person who doesn't know what a keyboard is, you'll have to make him learn what a keyboard is. How do you enter? How do you make stuff happen with it? Same goes for buttons on a touch screen. Interactions with smartphones it does seem intuitive to you, right? Because we are used to it. We are used to doing pinch gestures to zoom. We are used to taking screenshots with pressing multiple buttons at the same time. But that is not intuitive. Again, what do I mean by that is, if you give a VR headset to someone, if you ask him to do certain actions like pick something up, throw something, or go somewhere, in a game sense or in a 2D sense, you need to press some buttons or do some actions that will reflect, or that will somehow trigger something so that a different action happens. Driving a car, you press forward button. Moving a game character ahead, you press forward button. Shooting, you click left on your mouse. That's not the case with VR. You just put on a headset and everything happens naturally. And that's the reason people adapt to AR and VR so easily, because by the nature of its existence itself, it is intuitive. It is supposed to be intuitive.
Wow, that's really an interesting way of answering this, Vivek. So Vivek, can we say this by default or subconsciously or consciously, over a period of time we were trained with this interaction, and VR comes with the same interaction. So there is no learning stage as in.
Absolutely.
Because as we mentioned, the gestures, the typing, any interaction we do, so that VR comes with that adoption, and that what makes VR and AR quick adaptive for the people. Wow, that's really an exciting Vivek to know that thing, that why people are quickly adapting it, and why there is no learning stage, or why there is no generation gap. Because technology has always been where the kids are relatable, parents are not relatable, and there's always a generation gap. There was C, C++, then Java, and etc, etc. Today it's Python. So an example of a programming language, but it's going to evolve. Some other next things will be coming up there, right? But as you mentioned, so just last question to wrap this complete discussion and talk. What do you think? AR VR is here to stay, is here to take up us to the growth, or it's here to evolve more, or it's not even yet started the growth where we are, and what is going to happen with VR in after 10 years or 100 years?
So the answer is yes. Yes to all of it. It's like any other technology. I'm a fan of AR and VR. That's why I'm here. That's why I found a company that does AR VR. But like any other technology, if it is not evolving, if it is stagnant, it's of no use. So obviously AR VR will improve, it will get better, it will adapt to what humans are, not the other way around. That is again a great thing about AR VR, wherein like any other technology, you sometimes need to learn how to drive a car. But in the case of AR VR, the technology needs to adapt and somehow revolve around how humans function, and that is what makes this technology different than any other tech. And yes, it is here to stay, but it is obviously always evolving. It will, like I said, you'll get better displays, you'll get replacement for displays, you might get chips inside of your brain directly, but it is here for good, it is here to stay.
Wow. So what is the last one term you want to use, which will be the future term used on behalf of AR and VR?
So, okay, let's not get into the terminology stuff. That has caused a lot of problem in the industry itself. So, Microsoft has coined this term MR, which stands for mixed reality,
Yes.
which is their version of augmented reality. But there's a big term, there's an umbrella term, which is XR, which is known as extended reality, and it encompasses mixed reality or AR and virtual reality. All of immersive techs that you can imagine, it comes under the umbrella of XR. Right?
So very nicely mentioned and answered, Vivek. That was really nice talking to you, Vivek, since on the first episode we introduced you and your passion with AR, VR, what was AR, VR. And going further, we discussed about the case studies. If you guys haven't seen, please go and watch episode 2 and 3 and mention your feedback and comments over there. We'll surely get Mr. Vivek to answer all these questions and all. And very importantly, to talk about the future of AR and VR and where are we heading. That was really an encompassing, complete strategic talk on AR, VR. Your thought with us, how was your experience, how did you felt, and how do you look forward, how the overall experience of your with Tech with TV, if you can share.
Yeah, it has been a great experience coming from a team that also understands what AR is and also are doing great job in AR and VR. I understand TechVed is doing a lot of jobs in VR also, and yes, I love the session. I hope you guys also understood a lot of things, and if you need anything, if you have any doubts, I'm always here. Ask again in the comments, and if you have any doubts, you can contact TechVed for my contacts also. Great, thank you.